All right, people. This video is brought to you by High Frequency Radio. Please go like, share, and subscribe. He's a very informative man. He's got some good ideas. I might not agree with all of them, but the information's there for you to learn and to research for yourself. Thank you.
Own rights, but see what it is, the citizen I'm talking about with this small c is they make the rules. They making all the rules.
Yeah, you got privileges. When you get naturalized and all that, they make these artificial citizens for that artificial entity. Yeah, definitely. But I put myself on the record as a non-citizen national.
Is it fair to say most building companies are now trading at a loss?
Well, the situation we're in is a consequence.
You know the stuff that comes to that.
Okay.
I'm not in their jurisdiction. I'm a title to the land. So I was here when he came here. So I'm a non-citizen national. I'm de jure, not de facto. And so I want to identify myself as such.
Yeah, and you can identify yourself, and that's why you always hear me talking about private and public, because people can identify themselves in so many different ways, but all those ways they describe fall on the private side. Which means that you don't have nothing to do with the government.
Unless you use their legal words like resident, things like that.
Yeah, non-resident, alien. The word res means thing, and ident means a thing identified.
And also resident. But the legal definition also is someone who's expected to be temporarily in a place or location, like when they have the resident doctors and so forth. So when you let them know you're a resident, you let them know you're a foreigner to the land, or you're not, a natural citizen or whatever, a state citizen or whatever of that land. You're passing through. You're a foreigner, and you have the ability to be taxed, like you said. And like you said, it always come down to the Bible. I think it was when it was asking Jesus about, who should be taxed or whatever, who should we tax? And he says, give it to Caesar what is Caesar's. But anyway,
the Lord what is the Lord's.
Right. And the law is, when this is your house, you don't pay no tax. You don't owe nothing. You're the creditor because you're giving them. You're allowing them. You know what I mean? So when they're passing through, they got to pay that tax or pay whatever. And if they're doing businesses, they got to pay whatever.
Exactly. It's just a distinction. I mean, you see this, and the reason I wanted to talk about this today is because when you read these law books, that's what you're constantly going to keep seeing. You're going to see the capital C and the small c, the capital S and the small s. You're going to see that, and people got to see that's how they communicating this thing. That's how they distinguishing between the two.
It's a code. Right? It's a code. Use the code to hide things from, right?
It is a code. And that's going to also help you determine when you read all these paperwork that you find on the internet. Like, you might go on the internet and see some cat and put together some document. And then when you're reading this document, you see he ain't got his capital C's and small c's in the right place. He ain't describing it properly. His English grammar is horrendous. So now he ain't communicating the right thing to the judge. He's not communicating the right thing to these people. So he's looked at as incompetent. So, these things are necessary for us. We got to write the paper the proper way. You got the rules of English grammar apply. You just cannot just pay them any mind, because that is a language. That's a language.
And only a natural person can write.
Exactly.
That's why
that is a language.
Things handwritten also in your own hand.
I believe in that too. I think handwritten material has the power too. And I don't think you need to write in cursive. I think you need to print whatever it is that you do. You print it. Yeah.
Definitely.
You handwrite it in print. Not in cursive.
Right.
All right. Everybody's hand went up.
Giving some good information out there today. Like
yeah,
back in school when I was playing hooky or something.
I'm gonna tell y'all, there is a guy. His name is Paul Andrew Mitchell, and he is in Seattle. And this gentleman, that's just all he do, and he got all these citations. And I found his material, and I'm gonna tell you, I found out about this guy. From we were investigating the attorneys in the state of California, because I had a judge tell me in court, I was trying to help somebody in court, and the judge came at me and was like, "Do you have a license to practice law?" They all act like they're gonna arrest me in court. Everybody coming at me. Even the clerk jumped up and started running over at me. Yeah. Where's your license to practice law? You got a license? So everybody, they all, because they mad at me because they're having a hard time with this guy because I've been helping them, and they know I'm helping them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, because I'm coming in court with them and everything. So they say, we know. So the judge stand up. She's standing up at the bench. Do you have a license to practice law? And I told her straight up. I said, I wasn't aware that the practice of law could be licensed.
There you go.
And when I said that to her, she felt like a ghost walked over. I said, "Leave me alone, bitch. Don't start."
That's right. That's right. You straight ass right
there. You don't start, okay? And because she just looked at everybody else. They kind of looking around, but I'm looking at the judge because everybody else didn't understand what I said. She understood what I said.
That's right.
Now, what they will say is, "Are you giving legal advice?" Now, legal is applicable because that's dealing with the small s and the small c. When you hear the word legal, but when we talk about lawful, every private citizen got a right to practice law.
That's right. We're supposed to know the law. We're supposed to be the law. Sui juris.
That's right.
But
we have a
duty.
That's
why I say legal or legalities are for lawyers.
The government is inflating away your retirement savings. Here's how to stop them. If you're over...
I deal with lawful.
Exactly. And that's what they say. They say you're giving legal advice. That's what you hear them say.
No, I'm not.
No, that's what I can give him legal advice. I said the Constitution of the United States guarantees this man can have a counselor. I'm counseling him. That's what I told her. I said I'm counseling him.
That's right. I'm his private counsel. I'm an attorney de facto, a private attorney.
Yeah, if they ask you if you're an attorney, you say, "In fact, I am."
There you go. I like that.
That's what you say.
Oh, you said something earlier about equity and being in good faith. Yeah, I remember. Could I put this in some of my paperwork with my last case here I'm dealing with? It's a saying. It says, "He who has done iniquity deserves no equity." And that's right. That shows you got to be in good faith. And I put that in there, let them know, remind them, I'm in good faith.
Right.
All right. And also with the natural and artificial, there's also the Latin saying that says, nature bis maxima, which means nature is twice as strong. I remind them of that too. I'm coming as a natural man, and nature is twice as strong as that fiction.
You know what? But I think they know we natural men and women. But these contracts, man, we contract.
If you don't remove those presumptions, no, they presume you to be that slave, that trustee, or that thing under their jurisdiction because of your status. That's why you got to put it on the record. Remove those presumptions.
You do got to put that status on the record. That status.
I'm a natural man, self-conscious and aware. And I demand my rights. I'm not asking for them. I demand. So when you ask her as a child or whatever, then that's what they treat you like. But like you said, it all comes down to the thinker. As a man thinketh, so is he or she. They're going to treat you like a peasant. And if you think like a king, then you'll carry yourself as a king. And they will respect you, or you got to earn their respect. They ain't going to respect you up front. And not in this day and time, but you got to show them that you ain't no peasant and you ain't just going to be, used as a cattle. Oh, that's another word, usufruct. Because you was talking about that thing. That's a word you can put out there and to get them used to, usufruct and usufructuary. That's what they do. They use us as usufructs.
They're using people's property. Yeah, usufruct. Yeah,
they don't own it, but they use it and get the benefits from it.
It's called a higher and best. It's called a higher and best use principle. You're not using it so they can use it for your benefit. That's what they're, I mean, it's, when you study this, man, they're not doing nothing. The more I study, the more illegal. Yeah, they're doing everything. They're doing everything right. It's just the deception is they're not giving us full. They're not revealing all the facts, all material facts.
But aside from that, just like with my case, when they collude, when they swindle, because they figure you're a peasant, like who are you to stand up and try to assert your rights, or you don't know nothing, I mean, so it could go either way. I mean, they are corrupt. They are corrupt. Now, a lot of them are corrupt. There's a few ethical, but very few that's ethical these days.
Now you said something. You said something right there. You said they feel like you're a peasant. That's another thing that the American people gotta get back to, because I think we under the assumption that we left those lords and kings and dukes and everything over in England. It's still here. They brought it right back over here.
Titles of nobility.
They got titles of nobility over here.
Using titles of nobility.
That is exactly what it is. They're using a feudal. That's what I said earlier. It's a feudalistic type of model that they're using, and all those titles of nobility. They just changed the names of them and brought them over here and gave them names like senator and governor. And I'm telling you, I saw this thing from the governor where the person wrote him and called him his most excellent excellency, or he called him excellency. I'm like, okay. Hey, right, the governor and call him excellency. That's what you call to, you say to a king.
Well, he is the head of the state, of the country. The governor is the highest office. So he would be the king if it wasn't a federated state, if it was a sovereign, independent state. Right?
He is.
He's the highest office of the corporation. But, yeah. But, that's why they give him that reverence, I guess. Your honorable,
Yeah. Let me leave your mic open, man. I'm gonna bring in some more people. Put a couple of other people on the line. We're gonna jump around the country today. I'm gonna dip down into Delaware real quick. 302. Let me go Delaware. You're on the air. Seven 419.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace to the nation God on earth.
Hey, what's going on? How you doing?
This is a very interesting conversation. Like David Windmill said, they practice distorted language. And so the main thing is being a well-read person, know how to counteract their bull crap, knowing that they are de facto government. Like the old people said, don't give Satan no power. They have no power. And when you can deal with them, the winds will strike, because a lot of them are little boys.
This government document gives the Federal Reserve a new power. It gives them the right to not only...
And so I also like to say that I listened to Dr. Finkelstein last night, and I think that you should Google the oath, the Jesuit oath, the Knights of Columbus oath, and the King Alfred plan. But just read a little and tell the other people to do their research, because we really in trouble. I know when we go to court, it's like a battle. That's why they got the gold fringes around the flag, regardless of what we know. They're out to get us. And that Dr. Finkelstein said that. And the Jews write all the laws and stuff. So when you remember reading in Black Christian code, the first clause was the expulsion of Jews from the colony. They stole our birthright. That's why nationality is important. And also, when you go to court, the president signed something called the Conventions on Rights of Duties of States, Inter-American, December 26, 1933, with the United Nations Avalon Project, because they're foreign states. And we got to be aware that we always deal with foreign states. So if they could hoodwink and pull us off the square and practice their masonry or the modern day crusade on us, they will, because this is modern day crusade. Regardless of how fast we get knowledge of their law, what the Jews wrote, they still trying to get us. And Dr. Finkelstein said that.
Yeah, I mean, they are, but it's like, it's because we're a public charge. That's what I was telling people about public charges. And that goes back to being a consumer or producer. I don't think it is about black and white. I think it's about consumers and producers. I think it's about masters and slaves. I think it's about goods and services. And when I say goods and services, us being the goods. If you don't utilize your mind, then you're no better than some type of goods. That's what it is. That's what I'm seeing. I don't think, if you notice with Finkelstein, one thing I liked about that Jew, everything came back to shekels. Oh, well, we're chopping up the baby, but we're making a lot of shekels. Oh, well, but we're making a lot of shekels. Everything with him was business. Everything was business. It wasn't personal. Everything that man talked about, he went back to how many shekels he was making from doing it.
And you're right. You're right.
We got the kids from the time they born to the time they're 18. We making a lot of shekels.
You're right, but some things is none of their business. We give them the power. We submit to their statutes and stuff. That's the difference, because we're from the sovereign state, not the foreign state. That's what I just read to you about that convention where the president is signed. We don't study law enough.
But I'm gonna say this. Let me say this. All the American people are from the sovereign states. They just didn't get blacks or melanated individuals. They did it to everybody. Let me tell you something, man. We got blog talks where the Europeans are going just as hard as we going over here. They're going hard in the paint. They're going hard in the paint because they after they ass too. They after they ass too. You know what I'm saying? They don't have nothing to do with no black and white. They after they ass too. Now I'm in Laguna Beach talking to wealthy people. Want to sit down and talk to me because these people on their ass.
Well, I always say, when you see white people marching in the street, you know it's bad.
But they after them too.
But the
thing occupy that, you knew shit was bad when they out there.
They after them too, man. This ain't no black and white. Listen, this ain't no black and white.
But they try to save themselves without us. That's the thing with the Tea Party. They try to save themselves without us. You know what I mean? They ain't like they try to save everybody. They just try to save themselves. But they know they're in the same boat as us. And that's why they hot.
The deepest part.
They hot.
Got mulatto guy running the ship.
They hot too. They getting them too. They getting them too. You know what I'm saying?
So,
and that's why I kind of, when you look at it, the next question you have to ask, okay, well, how did the white people get into all of this? What happened to them? Right. Same thing. They were private. They got fooled into some contracts to become U.S. citizens too, and got their ass too. And that's what. Now let me tell you something. When the white people wake up, because see that's what they ain't really scared of us, because we ain't gonna bust.
They got the guns and equity.
Them white people, the average gun owner is 30 years old and white. And they have gun collections. When they do the damn gun shows in each one of these states, you don't see a lot of us in these motherfuckers. This is white people getting tanks and bazookas and and all this type of stuff. They geared up.
Yeah, can we get a system where when someone's bike is in the shop, we could
They geared up, and they just waiting for an excuse. So that's who they worried about, because they know when the white people get a full understanding. Because see, right now they run around, they taking their houses, they talking about what's happening to the Constitution. We need to lynch Obama, and Obama's sitting back looking at y'all like, y'all dumb motherfuckers, I ain't did nothing to you. I'm making laws for the corporation. Get your ass out of the corporation. That's all you have to do. Obama ain't doing nothing to you.
I don't know about them executive orders where they try to push it on everybody and deceive everybody. He's doing stuff like that. That's wrong. Signing this stuff.
What is an executive order, though? And let me tell you this. He gives executive orders with the sanction of Congress, okay? Because this is Congress's house. Right now, the executive branch and the judicial branch is operating inside of Congress's house. They're not operating in the de jure form of government. So everything really is coming from the permission of Congress. This is why when you have a federal case, they have sentencing guidelines. They have sentencing guidelines because Congress is telling the judges what to do. But in a real Republican form of government, you wouldn't have no sentencing guidelines. There's no damn Congress be telling no judge how to sentence somebody and send them to prison. You can only do that in their house. That's why you have sentencing guidelines. So these executive orders is the same thing. He's doing that. Congress is directing all of that. Obama's just the fall guy. He ain't got that much power. He's just a figurehead.
That's
it. I'm telling you.
What law was he talking about? The executive order was he talking about?
I don't know what executive order were you talking about.
He said about to feed somebody or something like that. He said Obama was talking about. He was just, the other brother on the other line was just mentioned that.
Oh, I was saying he's making these executive orders and then they pushing it like it belongs to everybody in the whole country.
Well,
executive orders just for the executive branch.
I mean, basically, do 99% of the population U.S. citizens. I mean, we don't make up. We don't, you know.
I know that goes to King Alfred.
But I mean, he can't do that. Go ahead.
They're not even Americans, and we don't never raise that issue.
You know what? You're absolutely right.
They're not even Americans. I don't even.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this: do you have to be American to run a corporation?
No.
I rest my case. I don't see why people tripping on that.
Internationally, everybody does it. It's about commerce.
It's international.
I'm not tripping on that. I'm smiling at them because their practice and their source, like Dr. Finkelstein was talking, right? Now, this is crazy. Anytime, and they talk about that, anytime they can psych your mind, take your gold and trade it for paper and stuff, and make the paper magic, that's sorcery.
Well, they into sorcery, definitely. They definitely into sorcery. They definitely. Hey, let me bring in another.
I have one more question to ask you.
Go ahead.
Say I'm in accident case. I was in a car accident and like State Farm's insurance, and I took it to trial and I said I would like to face my accuser. I have a right to face my accuser, Mr. State Farm. They said so that's fraud. If I can't face my accuser, ain't that automatic dismissal?
Well, I mean, the thing is this: because what you're trying to do is you're trying to determine jurisdiction, all right, which should always be. But that's why I'm letting y'all know about these courts. You're not in no Article III court. You have a right to face your accuser in an Article III court under the Constitution. You don't have no constitutional rights. That's why when you go in there and start asking for some constitutional rights, they tell you say this one more time, I'm going to give you contempt. They're going to hold you in contempt of court because they're adjudicating a contract. And the contract is outside the Constitution. When you look at public law and private law, on the public side, you got constitutional law, administrative law, criminal law, and international public law. On the private side, in the private law, you got contract law, property law, tort law, and status law. All right. A contract law falls under private law. It is not. The Constitution is on the other side of the fence. So you come in there and start talking about the Constitution and everything. That's what they tell you. You say that one more time, I'm going to hold you in contempt, because we in here under private law. It's a contract we in here adjudicating. Now, what you can do is what people do, but it's still kind of raising an argument, because I don't want to argue with these people. All right. Now, sometimes they try to force you into an argument, but you don't want to argument with these people. When you come in here, people say, I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'm confused. Okay, is this civil or criminal? And they say, well, it's a criminal action. Okay, well, thank you. Let the record reflect that the action being brought against the defendant is a criminal action. Now, sir, the Constitution of the United States, or the Constitution for the United States of America, only grants this court 2 criminal jurisdictions. One is a jurisdiction under the common law, i.e. Article 3. The other is
Did you know that there's an endless supply of free electricity constantly flowing in the ground beneath you? Did you?
Jurisdiction that constitutes a condition of contract under criminal aspects of a colorable admiralty jurisdiction. Now, sir, for the record, would you please tell this court under which 2 of these jurisdictions this court is operating under? They always tell you it's statutory. Who is the individual who promulgates the statutes? The legislature. So if they're telling you it's statutory, then it's under the legislature, and you're in an Article 1 court, and this is an Article 1, Section 8, the Clause 9 tribunal, which is a territorial court, and they are in there dealing with contracts, because that is the only way you conduct business is through contracts. You can't conduct business without a contract. You're in a business court. They are there to regulate commerce. You're in a commercial.
It's an equity court. Court of Chancery. We don't know what that is.
Transferred to the district court because of nationality. You want to get removed to the district court. That's Article 2.
Well, you hear a lot of brothers say that we have the wrong venue and jurisdiction, and we need to get the proper venue to adjudicate this. And a lot of brothers go in and they assert their common law rights. Now, I don't subscribe to that, because all they're doing is trying to collect the debt, and there isn't any money. And equity, this is the brother just said, it's equity. Equity is fairness, impartiality, and even-handed dealing. And they merged law and equity because they had to, because there is no money. You have to have money to have a remedy. So since you can't pay for anything, all right, how you going to charge me? That's not fair. How is it fair if you want me to pay a debt and I ain't got nothing to pay it with?
Well, how are they going to charge us then? Vice versa.
Well, they have to give you a remedy, and this is where the administrative process comes into play.
Right.
But you have to learn how to assert it. You know, it's okay. Well, look, I know you want me to pay this, but you know there ain't no damn money. You took the money in 1933. They codified in Title 31, 511 D2, the rescission of the gold clause. And you know that under Article 1, Section 8, Clause 10, that only gold and silver can be used to pay a debt, Your Honor. Now, what were you expecting me to pay this debt with? And please don't say cash, check, or credit card, because that would demonstrate that you're willfully violating public policy, because public policy has made it mandatory. You can't require anyone to pay anything with any particular form of cash or currency. It's what you will accept. And if you don't accept my signature that I'm about to put on this promissory note and hand to you, then under UCC 3-603B, which is tender of payment, this debt is discharged up to the amount of the tender. Because if I can't give you a promissory note, ain't shit else I can give you. Because that's all you see in circulation is promises to pay. Look in your pocket.
This is where the fraud comes in. You ain't supposed to know that, so they want you to work for those debt instruments and give that. And if you can't get enough by working, that's what default you, put you in debt and make you a full slave.
That's why they came out with the game Monopoly in 1936. They came out with the game Monopoly right after 1933. They told everybody what was happening. If you look at the Monopoly money, it lines up, the colors line up with your real money. I put a picture up of it all the time on my screen to show you how the Monopoly, the colors in the Monopoly money match the colors in the Federal Reserve money. They gave you tokens, which are your straw man. You got a public and a private, community chess and chance. You got get out of jail free cards. You got all that shit that's on that monopoly. You got deeds. Everything is deeds. Everything operates off of a deed.
Pay your tax.
Taxes. Everything you see that they doing is on that monopoly board. I'm trying to tell y'all. It's all on the monopoly board.
That's right.
They told you what and the bank, and check it out. And one of the rules of monopoly is if the bank run out of money, guess how you get some more money for the bank?
You make some more.
They tell you to get a damn piece of paper and make some more.
That's right. Create it. That's right. So somebody did. Bankrupt the next ones. Somebody get bankrupt.
You step.
Yeah.
But that seminar you're doing tomorrow, what time is it and what do I tap into?
It's gonna be at I'm gonna try to start it at 4:00 Pacific Standard Time. So it's gonna be about 7:00 your time. All right, and it'll be 4:00 my time. I know we got people on the East Coast, so I don't want to keep them up late. So I'm gonna start it early on this side over here.
Well, how do I get into it?
I'm gonna send an email. Do I have your email?
Yeah, Sharif Noel Yahoo. Sharif Noel at yahoo.com.
Well, no, can you send me an email? Well, tell me what it. Yeah, send me an email at highfrequencyblogtalk@gmail.com, and I will send you the sign on because it's going to be online. It's an online webinar. And you'll be able to see everything I'm doing with the papers. You're gonna see how I'm gonna show y'all. I'm gonna let y'all in my world and show y'all how I draw up documents and things like that. Let you see how I get down and everything. All right. Which should be very, very good.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Shukran.
Au revoir. Shukran jazilan. Thank you very much. Let's go to...
This new veneer is bringing smiles back to millions for less than $30, so you can have the radiant smile you deserve.
Where we going? I think I'm gonna dip down south now. Man, it's a little too much time up north. Let's go down south. Let's visit. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think I got nobody down south on the line. I don't know let me see what this is right here. Let me see what this is. Where we going? Oh, let's go to VA, Virginia. 540. You're on High Frequency Radio.
Hey, good morning. Well, good afternoon for me out here. Not much. Hey, great topic. I would like to get specific for other listeners out there who are listening about how to make sure that they are in the right status. Also, how to have their case transferred out of a state court into a federal court if that's something they need to do. The brother who was on just before me, he mentioned the Convention on Rights and Duties of the State. I would suggest everybody who is a national get that document and go down to section number 9, because in that section there, it will tell you, Article 9, it'll tell you that you have the same right as a state has. It lays it out for you. Just go to Article 9 and read that. The other articles are important as well, but Article 9, that's what you can use, specifically use in the court or even in your administrative process to make the point that, hey, look, I am a national and I have the same right as the state has. Okay, the next document you want to get is the International Organizations Immunities Act. And if you go down to Title I, Section number 9, that will also let you know that you have the same right to the judicial processes as any government official, anybody, whoever in the government, the president has. You have the same judicial rights and processes as any government official has. Again, that's Title 1, Section number 9 of the International Organizations Immunities Act. Okay.
Oh.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm going to let
Okay.
you finish.
All
Let
right.
you finish.
All right. When it comes to the courts, if you are in a state court or any municipal court, the way that you can get it, the way that you can tell the judge, the prosecutor, the administrative hearing officer that you are in the wrong court or they're trying to drag you into the wrong court, pull up United States Code 28, 1330, small letter A, and 28, 1331. Okay, both of those statutes will tell you or will tell them that original jurisdiction starts in the district court, meaning the United States District Court for whatever particular territory they live in. Okay, you follow me on that? So for instance, if you're living in the state of Maryland in PG County, your federal court would be the United States District Court for the Southern District of Maryland. And you can find that out as well if you do a little searching into the United States Code. The way that someone can have their case, if they're already in court, the way that they can have it removed from a state court to federal court, if it is a criminal action or if you're in a criminal court,
is USC 1455. Yeah.
Right. And if it's a civil, you go to 1441.
Right.
That'll tell you the process you need to do. Okay. Now, if they are trying to bring you in as a corporation, that's when you bring up the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act. And again, you can find that under Title 28. You can start at 1602 all the way through 1611. But the way that you prove that they are a foreign state and that you are also a foreign state, go to 28 1603. And it has A and then it has lowercase a, lowercase b. If you read those right there, it'll tell you what the definition of a foreign state is. And it'll let you know that you are a foreign state and that they are a foreign state. Okay, now if they're going to bring you in again as a corporation, then under the civil rules of civil procedures, federal rules of civil procedure, then they have to follow Rule 4J, which means the proper service. And if you get into Rule 17 as well, you can hold them to that.
Real party and interest.
Real party of interest, right? And then the last thing is that the 11th Amendment of the Constitution that prevents any court of the United States from hearing any case between a foreign state and a citizen, or between two foreign states, if there's no contract between the two parties. So if a foreign state tries to bring you in as a foreign state, then they're going to have to prove that you have a contract with them somehow, that was somehow violated or breached, or that you cause harm to them. If they bring you in as an individual, then again, the 11th Amendment prevents that, but then they're going to have to, again, show some type of a contract where you waived your rights to allow them to prosecute you or to sue you.
Okay, now let me give you a deeper understanding. First of all, even using any of the statutes is admitting that you are a U.S. citizen.
No.
Yes,
The
it is.
The reason why is because if you go back to that Convention on Rights and Duties of the States, Article 9, it tells you that you have the same protections under international law as any national or foreigner has, or as any state has. So just because you use if they have access to that statute, then you have access to it.
I understand what you.
So whatever they use, you can use as a national. That's an international agreement.
Live streaming can be tricky, and sometimes trying to find the right song.
So if they violate that, they're violating not only United States law, but international law.
Right. Now, if you remember that the title of this show that we're doing today is state versus state and citizen versus citizen. Mm-hmm. Now, when you go and you read these statutes and it say foreign state, every time you see the word state there, you see the small letter S. It's not no capital S. So it's talking about a common noun. Mm-hmm. It's not talking about a proper noun. A proper noun is when you see the word state with a capital S, it's talking about a particular person, place, or thing. Every time you see them use capital letters when they reference something, they're talking about the private. They're talking about the republic. They're talking about real living souls. When you see them use a small letter, which is a common noun, they could be talking about anything. And this is why when you look at the Constitution after the 14th Amendment, the word citizen, everywhere that's written in the Constitution is written with a small c. Prior to the 14th Amendment, when you read the Constitution, everywhere in the document you saw the word citizen, it was with a capital C, because no corporations exist at that time. The Constitution didn't recognize that. The 14th Amendment, which was a war amendment, which is how the United States brought all the citizens with a capital C of the several states under their jurisdiction by way of these contracts, now put everybody this small letter C, a U.S. citizen, with a small c. And corporations are citizens. These courts that you are going into do not recognize anything but corporations. Mm-hmm. They operate 7 different types of entities. They're either looking at a trust, an estate, a corporation, a company, a partnership, an individual, or sole proprietorship or something like that. They don't recognize any living souls. You're dealing now. You can find remedy using the corporation, but you got to understand in what capacity you are making an appearance when you come in their venue in their jurisdiction and you have an argument that you want to put onto the record. They don't never recognize real living souls. The only capacity you can come in there is as a third party intervener under Rule 24 and with some type of counterclaim under Rule 13 or some type of trustee or something like that. You're already looked at as a trustee ex officio when you're coming in there under a criminal case. Now, I see what you're saying because you are taking benefits. You're taking benefits and privileges when you're using the Foreign Sovereignty Immunities Act because you are affording yourself the protections of their statutes. There is, and I'm not saying that you can't get remedy that way. I just want to make it people clear in their mind the capacity that you are operating under, and that's why I named this with the way that I did, because a lot of people make that mistake. They don't pay attention to these words when they're reading them in these statutes, these little nuances of the law, like the capitalization of the letters and everything, which mean a very big deal. You're looked at as a person in law, in contemplation of the law. And we already know that a person is, they say natural and artificial persons and all these different things, but a real living soul cannot appear in a commercial court. Now, you can assert your right, your common law right, to the proper venue and jurisdiction of a common law Article 3 court. That's the only place they're going to recognize a real living soul is in Article 3. That's the only place. That's why you have the United States District Court and you have the District Court of the United States. One is
Don't forget to please like, subscribe, and share to High Frequency Radio. And if you do so, please let them know that Larry James 965 sent you. Thank you.
is the real court for Article 3 and one is the Article 1 court. So you're invoking those things and you'll see that. You'll see stuff phrased like that when you look at, I got a citation right here that uses that terminology, District Court of the United States and United States District Court. These are the games they play because everything, and I'm going to tell you how I know I'm correct, because everything in law follows the laws of nature. And one of the laws of nature is polarity. There's two sides to everything. Everything that they do has two sides, a public and a private. Mm-hmm. Everything.
Everything else?
Everything has two sides. You just keep it just simple like that. All right. You are foreign to them. You are. You absolutely correct. You're foreign to that venue, and it would be interesting to see how people would put that on the pleading and bring that argument. I got some guys that did some excellent work on using the foreign side. There's a guy. I don't know his name. He got some website. He got a whole bunch of members and everything. That's all they do is use the Foreign Sovereign Immunity Act, Foreign Sovereign Immunity Act, and the Savings to Suitor Act. You know, they use these acts and everything and bring them into court. I don't know how much success they have, but they claim to have a great deal of success as well. But I'm just right now, I'm not trying to say that your remedy don't work. It is a remedy, but I want people to understand the difference. You public and private don't mix. They don't ever mix them. Don't you ever mix them. They don't never mix public and private. If you in that court and you make an appearance in that court and everything, you need to know under what capacity you are making that appearance. If you a private man, you really need to even be speaking in that court. Because as soon as you start speaking and engaging that judge in a conversation, you grant jurisdiction and you look at it as a public figure.
Well, under the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act, which is Title 28, I'm trying to get to it here now. Even if you show up in that court, let me see if I can pull it up here now.
The government is inflating away your retirement savings. Here's how to stop them. If you're
okay, yeah, let me see. I think it's 1605. Even if I think it's 16, let me see here. Well, let me keep talking while I'm looking. Even if you show up in that court, if I can find this site here, it doesn't confer jurisdiction to the court just by you being there.
Well, it doesn't. But I'm gonna tell you this.
Let me say this. So
go ahead.
If you happen to find yourself in a court as a natural person, let's just say that, then your argument, in my opinion, should be that the court is a foreign state court and everybody else in there is foreign to you. That should be your argument, and that's what you should stick to.
Now, let me tell you something.
Even if you don't want to be a corporation, if they're going to look at you as a corporation, then you need to let them know, hey, okay, I'm a corporation.
No, I'm going to tell you what they're going to look at you at. I'm going to tell you what they're going to look at you at. First of all, that's called an off-point argument. And what they're going to look at you at is a bad businessman. Now, I'm going to read to you right now the declaration and purpose of the Foreign Sovereign Immunity Act. Listen very closely to what this says. It says the Congress finds that the determination by United States courts with a small c, because when they reference the real court, they use a capital C. When they talk about the Article 1 courts, they use a small c. And when they talk about Article 3 courts, they use a capital C. When they talk about Article 1 courts, they do the same thing with everything, giving you the code down. All right. The Congress finds that the determination by United States courts of the claims of foreign states with a small s to immunity from the jurisdiction of such courts with a small.
I think that's interesting about the capital and the lowercase. I've never paid attention or noticed it, but I'm definitely going to start paying attention to it now.
Would serve the interest of justice and would protect the rights of both foreign states and litigants in United States courts. Under international law, states with a small s, not the capital S. This ain't talking about real states, the Republican. This is talking about a democratic corporation.
Okay.
States are not immune from the jurisdiction of foreign courts insofar as their commercial activities are concerned, and their commercial property may be levied upon for the satisfaction of judgments rendered against them in connection with their commercial activities. I can go on and on through all of these statutes, and everything you're going to see in there is referencing commerce. So when you go in there with an argument and say, well, you don't have jurisdiction over me. I'm not a corporation. You're blah, 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 blah. You're a bad businessman. Okay?
No, because look, if they're gonna bring you in as a corporation, like you said, it's gonna be for some commercial activity. Now they're gonna have to prove what commercial activity. Wait a minute, they're gonna have to. Well, I'm not talking. Well, they're going to have to prove what type of commercial activity you're in.
No. I don't make them prove no commercial activity. You know why? Because they can't prove no commercial activity because they don't have no commercial energy because they need you. You are supposed to, they need your signature. This is what acceptance for value is all about. This is what it's called, an acceptance for honor. All right? You're coming in as a third-party intervener because they're not charging you. They're charging a corporation, which is your franchise, that all capital letters name. You're the trustee of that corporation. Any type of public charge that's been placed on that, you need to discharge that obligation by giving them some sort of negotiable instrument and telling them to get the hell on. When you engage these people like this, you can be looked at as an enemy of the state. Now, if you want to see a very good treatise on that, there's a document on the internet that's well written about it called What is Acceptance for Value? And he goes through all those uniform commercial codes. But what you're doing is called a traverse. You are arguing. You're coming in saying, look, I'm not a corporation. You don't have jurisdiction over me. Where is the contract? And I'm not saying all those things aren't valid. They're valid. But that is something that's being taught all over the internet. And all these patriot communities, everything, and it's wrong. I'm here to tell you it's wrong. You have to know how that these are commercial courts. It's only creditors and debtors. And if you are a secured party creditor or a creditor, creditors don't argue because they are bankrupt. It's on the public record that they're bankrupt. They can't make a claim. A bankrupt entity can't make a claim. So when you stand there, you start saying, well, where's the contract? Where's the jurisdiction? All these type of things, making these arguments and everything like that. They start snatching you up and everything because they know they can't prove any of that. We can't prove it. That's what nobody does. It's what the banks don't. You ask the bank for the promissory note. All this, they can't do it because ain't nobody got no damn money. All the money's coming from signatures. That's why in your face, they are constantly throwing some piece of paper in your face when you put a signature on it because that's money. Whether it's an application for a car, a promissory note for a house, a goddamn library card, whatever. They want the signature on it because you are the money.
Yep.
You the money. And if I'm the money, if I got millions of dollars, I got all the money in the world, why don't I argue somebody want $20? The state come to me and say, okay, we need $20 from you, man. Well, here's the promissory note. Take this. Let me write my name on a piece of paper.
Defeating a criminal who tries to attack you is surprisingly simple. You just need to follow the Romanian Rambo's 2 golden rules of self-defense.
Print it up. Here you go. Thank you, sir. Let's do it in private because I know, we don't need to put this on the public record. I'm going to give you what you need in the private and everything. I'm going to make it all nice because I know you're going to take this trade. You don't want to go probably put this on the international market or something like that. But I'm going to give you this document and everything, and now I'm not going to argue. What happens is, after you do a procedure like that, you go in there and the judge tricks you. Most people fall to the deception of the judge because the judge is so slick and everything. He come in and he say, hey, how you doing today, Mr. Johnson? Oh, yeah, fine, judge, and everything. He just got you right there.
Your best buddy.
Well, people come in with their foreclosure. Well, he said, well, when was the last time you made a payment? About 2 years ago. Just admitted on the record there's a contract. You can contract with these paper. Contracts are express and implied.
Yep.
Contracts just ain't express. You contract through your conduct, through implication of look up a implied contract.
Yep.
Through the implication of your conduct, actions speak louder than words.
Hit the nail right on the head.
Up there looking at it, and they're gonna be going through it, looking at all these minimum contacts that establishes they got personal jurisdiction over you. Have you ever looked at the word minimum contacts?
No, I have not.
You should look up that word minimum contacts before you jump out there like that. Minimum contacts is evidence that you have been engaged in business. This Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act is for commercial purposes. What it was put in place for, it was like, if I'm not doing business with a United States corporation, then this ain't the proper venue for this.
Right.
But if there's evidence that this foreign state, has been doing business with a franchise of the United States, they're going to grant jurisdiction. That's called minimum contact. Now, this is why the trust information comes up so properly, and you hear me telling people about managing the trust, because it's all the same thing. They be attacking the trust the same way, because the trust is a fictitious entity. And if you don't manage it properly, if you don't keep that trust safe from those minimum contacts, they're going to come in and they're going to take jurisdiction. They're going to take jurisdiction. If you take a benefit and privilege from the United States, you're not getting out of it. You can't take a benefit and privilege from the United States and then try to invoke the Foreign Sovereignty Immunity Act. And they got evidence that you've been doing business within the United States. It's not going to work, I'm telling you.
Well, if you go back to that word commercial, if you look up the word commerce in Black's Law 4th, it says exchange of goods, productions, or property of any kind.
Okay.
So,
and if you look
now,
up,
if I go to the store and purchase something, I'm not in commerce. At least I don't believe I'm in commerce. What's in commerce is the store that I purchased a product from, a finished, or what's the word they use? Consumer goods, meaning like the finished.
Okay.
So
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up.
Is what's in commerce, not me.
I'm glad you brought.
We're gonna pause here for a second. I gotta use the facilities, and I really want to hear what this guy's saying. I'll be right back.
I have some things to say, so take it on the way and listen to me, to be. You have to seize my sense, release me with intent. It is not easy, please me.
See, I told you I'd be right back.
Brought that up. Let's
And
go
then
back to your word. Let's go back to the word you just used, goods.
Mm-hmm.
You just said commerce. Give me the definition of commerce again.
Okay, according to the Black, it says Black's 4th. It says the exchange of goods, productions, and property of any kind.
Okay. Now, do you know what goods mean?
Actually, I've looked it up once before, but I'm trying to pull it up back here now in my Black's Law.
Okay, I'm gonna show you. Because see, I had another brother come at me and say, "Man, why you doing that UCC stuff, man? Y'all putting this stuff on there, transmitting utility." Okay, you're talking about, this ain't no damn anywhere the definition of transmitting utility, and they're like, well, this don't have nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? They're reading transmitting utility and they don't think it has anything to do with them. And what happens is this: people don't go deep. It's so easy in doing this to assume that you know the meaning of a word. It is so easy. It's so easy. Goods means all things that are movable when a security interest attaches. The term includes fixtures, standing timber that is to be cut, removed under conveyance or contract for sale. Now, look at the next one. It says the unborn young of animals.
Cattle.
The unborn young of animals. Now, what does that mean?
Well, it could mean the animal that we think of like a calf or horse, or it could mean a human being.
Why the U.S. Privacy Commission wants this new super military gadget to transform your phone.
Okay, now that's what those other guys are thinking. They say animals, and that's what a lot of these other patriot people, they going on these talk shoes and everything. I'm not an animal.
Right.
What are you talking about? I'm not an animal. Let me read the definition of animal to you. Yeah. Let me read it to you. And notice it said unborn animals. Okay? Unborn animals. Let's just go. All right, because I know when you hear that word animal, you're thinking about dogs and cats and horses and rabbits and all that type of stuff. But I'm just giving you an example of how thorough you have to be. How deep you have to be. And you have to start with words that you already thought you knew the meaning of, because those are the ones that's going to trip you up. It ain't going to be the complex ones that jump out at you. I'm like, I got to look that word up. It's going to be the ones that you see every day and use every day that's gonna trip you up and everything. That's how they did it. Now we gonna use the word animal. Let me pull this up for you real quick. Now what I'm coming from an Oxford unabridged dictionary, and these give you the etymology of the word. All right, it's like it gives you real deep etymology of all the work. I had to go out because I kept seeing this word animal pop up, and I had to say, you know what? They call it, and Alfred Addis, he came up with the same conclusion. He said, because he's reading in statutes, they keep referencing his animal. He just did a talk show about 2 months ago talking about this very thing. He said, man, these people think we animals. And he said, I'm not a damn animal. And I'm here to say, yes, you are. And I'll tell you why. It says animal.
Yep.
A living being, a member of the higher of the two series of organized beings, of which the typical form are endowed with life, sensation, and voluntary motion, but of which the lowest forms are hardly distinguishable from the lowest vegetable forms by any more certain marks than their evident relationship to other animal forms. Now, that's a nice way of saying where I tell people all the time, if you don't do nothing but, this goes back to when I say there's only two types of statuses, consumer and producer. Because if you're a consumer, then all you really do is eat, sleep, and reproduce. If all you do in your life is eat, sleep, and reproduce, there is nothing to do.
All right, people. We're going to end this stream. We've been here an hour, learned some things. There'll be a third part most likely tomorrow. Hope you have a great day and a better tomorrow. Take care. Bye.